Yes, yes, yes. This is Arthur Lewis live at the Grenada Food Forest.
Hi, what's up, Arthur? Today I'll be interviewing you, asking you a few questions. Would you mind?
Um, that's what I'm here for, anything I could share, anything I could teach, just let me know.
Okay, first of all, what got you into gardening?
Um, I've been into gardening a very long time. My grandfather was a gardener, one of the best, on my mother's side, and my grandparents on my father's side. They were into gardening as well. As you know, we live on this island. We're just coming from colonization, uh, and before that, slavery. So really, what you had, these islands of the Caribbean, of the West Indies, they were really gardens for the imperial superpower. So most of the people involved in island life back in those days were really gardeners. So it's something that has been passed down and passed down. So I was introduced to gardening at a very early age, but uh, with going to school, and being educated and so on, you tend to turn away from your culture and the ways that you know, and so I would have gotten involved in other stuff. I would have fallen in love with certain sciences, um, uh, electronics, physics, and eventually IT and stuff like that. But I got back into gardening. Well, basically, I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, which spoke about um, uh, assets and putting your money to work for you as opposed to working for money and buying stuff that depreciates over time. So well, I had some money at the time and I wanted to do something good with the money according to the teachings of Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I bought this plot of land thinking that it would be something that would sit and appreciate an asset. I probably would get somebody to come here and do the actual gardening for me and pay that person as the value build up and so on. But what happened is that as I bought the property and started to come up here, I actually fell in love with the property and with doing a lot of the stuff for myself. The rain is coming, showers of blessing, as a gardener, when the rain falls, you appreciate that. So it's all right that the rain is falling. Yeah, so I started to come up here while making the deal to purchase the property and so on, and I actually fell in love with the trees. I fell in love. I've always been an outdoor person, so it's more like I fell back in love with gardening and with the soil and with growing stuff. And that's why I'm here today, Arthur Lewis at the Grenada Food Forest.
Okay. So, have you ever strayed from the culture of gardening, like invented your own style of gardening?
Yes. As I started to come up here, being an IT person, whenever I want to find out something, I would just type into Google and so on. So I've discovered something called Permaculture, which is a system of gardening that builds on the premise of sustainability. And I found that I like that revolutionary idea. Not only that too, it reminds me of the way in which my grandfather grew stuff, which is mixed canopy gardening, using the material from the land to make the manure and so on to throw back in the land, and the animals, and as you can see, I have the pineapple tree here. I have the taro plant growing right there, so the sorrel plants on the side you can't see, but after I clear this property, this is a cocoa tree. When it becomes big enough, I would have to take this out here. And then I have the lemongrass growing right here, which is a popular tea on the island. Very delicious tea, and we use it like if you're catching a cold or certain type of upset stomach and so on. We use the lemongrass and it'll put you at peace and give you ease. What else? We have bananas in the background, so I use that. Yeah, so I do not garden according to the textbook so much, I come here and I look at what is happening. I look at what grows naturally, in certain areas. I try certain things. If it doesn't work, I change it. For example, these young cocoa trees that you're looking at, they would be cocoa seedlings that I created myself. Whereas our Ministry of Agriculture would tell the farmers, do not make any plants for fear that the quality of the plants may diminish when you get the seedlings. But all I have here is high quality plants that they have been on this plantation, because this is an old cocoa plantation from since the days of slavery. So they have been on this old plantation for hundreds of years, high quality plants. What kind of seedlings would I get there for? High quality seedlings. So I make a lot of the seedlings, and just in case they're not high quality seedlings, I have other seedlings, I chop it up and put in new seedlings. But the thing is, we've always been observed as an island with top quality produce, like the cocoa, the spices that have been here. And now you're telling us that we shouldn't propagate these plants, but that we should go outside of the island to areas that have not had a history of having top quality plants, to now bring in plants into the island because you say those plants are high yielding, but we now have to compete with the people that we're getting those plants from, because we will be having the quality that they have as opposed to the quality that we're renowned for. And that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to perpetuate the longevity of the cocoa that we would have had here for the hundreds of years that we've had them. And so my thinking is always radical. It's always out of the box. The way I do things is always different. May not be correct. It may not be that what you're doing is incorrect, but I like to do things the way I like to do things. Island man thing.
Okay, so would you advise anyone into getting into agriculture?
Yeah, I generate money from this here, and money is a big thing in the world these days. I've been for some time now, and it doesn't seem as though we're gonna evolve out of the whole culture and concept of money anytime soon. So for that alone, because people need money to survive and so on. But also, if you're looking for healthy food, that you have a relationship with, food that you may have planted yourself, and you could just pick something and put it on the table, and you don't have to depend on that food to go through the system and heavy processing and food that have become contaminated with chemicals and so on, and that have become corrupt, and food that instead of nourishing you, it makes you sick. When you get into agriculture and growing your own food that you have to eat, you take great care with how you grow that food. My stuff here doesn't have any chemical that I deem to be harmful. It doesn't have any insecticide sprayed on it. It doesn't have any herbicide. It doesn't have any manure, organic or otherwise. It doesn't have any fertilizer. So, and I could just come here and I could just break this off. Food. Now, why wouldn't I want that for everybody on the planet? Why wouldn't I want you, to see after your own food security and to grow according to the philosophies of sustainable agriculture with techniques like permaculture and techniques like what I am pioneering here, Well, not really pioneering, just bringing back what my grandfather did. Because he never wrote anything down. My grandfather was a scientist, but he never wrote any books, So it's from the lessons that he told me, and from what I saw him do, and with his videos, I could document, some of the things that I learned from him. My grandfather did agriculture for a living, so I don't really do that for a living. His plantation would look You know, his land will be well maintained, it will be clear, it will be well drained, and stuff like that. I don't really have that going on here, but you know, it's evidence of production. So I feel like I'm doing a good job, because I mean, this is not a toy. I'd actually eat this. This is a pineapple. It smells amazing. I'm sure you could smell this out in social media, man. I always say that. So yeah, you know, get out there, get growing.
So what drives you into keep on doing this thing, agriculture?
I think it's the results, really. But the main reason why I keep coming out here is because, as I say, I've always been a nature person. And then when I got into IT, you know, I mean, computers, they're so addictive and so captivating, and it is so broad. There are so many things that you could get into. You know, I kind of lost touch with nature. You know, if I wasn't repairing a computer, I probably was building network, repairing somebody else's computer, you know, building a website, graphics, probably playing video games and so on. And so once I started coming here to the Grenada Food Forest, I kind of rediscovered my relationship with the natural world, you know, and the plants, because I've always been a plant lover. And so that is what keeps me here. As to what keeps me growing and gardening, I would say is the result. You know, I mean, I like taking this back home. I like taking the guavas back home, the cashews, you know, and watching the little ones, how excited they are when I come home with the ripe bananas, and it smells so nice, and they just want to eat it. You know, it gives me a certain joy that what I'm doing here, one, I'm seeing the results, you know, so I know that nature appreciates the effort that I'm putting in. And when I take it back home, I can see that the people that I'm doing this for, who are the people that I love, they also appreciate that I'm bringing something home, you know. So that drives me, and it keeps me going.